Hello and welcome back to Mark's House and Garden, where it's time to start work on digging for the arid and desert bed. And some people also call these gravel gardens. Now the view you're looking at here, you can see that it's currently grass and there's a circular border with 3 trachycarpus in. Now I always knew the moment I planted them that they were too close together. So this is also an opportunity to relocate 2 of those trachycarpus, and I'll be doing that in another video. And they've only been in the ground there for 18 months to 2 years, and they've probably only just got established, so it's a shame really. They're going to get another shock and I'm going to relocate them. Now the effect I want to try and achieve here is a gravel garden or an arid bed or a desert type garden, and it's going to have lots of the type of plants that you would associate with an arid bed, for example agaves and cactuses and spiky plants. And I think that's a good idea at the moment because we are definitely going through climate change and we're having hot weather, so I think this is an opportunity to capitalize on that and put in an arid desert bed. Now I've seen many arid desert beds around the world on my travels. I've been to Palm Springs, I've been to Cape Town, and I've seen lots of very effective planting schemes for arid beds, and it seems to me that the main thing really is the hard, rocky, gravelly landscaping, which really accentuates this type or style of planting, which is all about spiky plants and cactuses and succulents, and that's what I'm going to be placing in here. Now after I've moved the trachycarpus, and incidentally it's only going to be 2 that move, the tall one will remain in place, the other 2 will move further back towards the hedge at the back so that I can walk through. Now there's a path that comes from my parterre which is at the very front of the cottage, and I want to continue the line of that path so that it travels between the trachycarpus, and then it will effectively travel across the drive into my olive grove, which is another one of the projects I've got on the go at the moment. So I'm digging out the grass here, as you can see, starting off with 2 parallel lines and just getting my spade in. And what's helpful about this is I need to get down some depth really so that I can get a nice depth of gravel in. I'm going to probably buy 2 or 3 tons of gravel to put on top of this soil, and that gravel will obviously help with drainage, but it'll also suppress the weeds. So by cutting away at the turfs and going quite deep, that's bringing out quite a lot of the soil with it as well at the same time. I will need to tidy the edges up, and there's already a brick edge to part of this small area of the garden, and I'm going to continue that brick edge round. I've got some spare bricks. I had a circle of bricks around the trachycarpus, so I've recovered those, and I'll be reusing those, and I will be cementing them in, and I'll demonstrate how to cement a brick edge in another video. And that edging will form a nice boundary for this arid desert bed. Now I'm debating in my mind whether to put weed fabric under the gravel. I'm hoping that with the depth of gravel that I'm going for, which is hopefully going to be about 6 inches minimum, I won't need weed fabric. I'll be able to just use that as a weed suppressant. But I do want low maintenance gardening, but I'm hoping that with quite a depth of gravel, 6 inches, that should stop any weeds from getting a foothold, and any weeds that do germinate into the gravel should be relatively easy to pluck out should they germinate and grow. Now I'll also be able to plant things like grasses and succulents and possibly even some phormiums in this area. The area is actually quite a large area. It's deceptive, it's slightly bigger than it looks in actual fact. So there is scope to put 1 or 2 arid desert type plants and a couple of other Mediterranean style plants. And with that in mind, I do have a standard olive tree, which I'd quite like to put in here because just across the drive there is an olive grove, And up the side of the cottage I have a Mediterranean scented border with 4 standard olive trees in. So I'm hoping that kind of by plonking an olive tree in this border, it will tie the 3 areas together. I've also got a small Trachycarpus in my Jurassic jungle border, which I've got permission to move, so I could move that over in to my olive grove. So by doing that, again, it brings the Trachycarpus feeling from the parterre to the arid bed over to the olive grove. So in a way, we've got 3 or 4 separate areas of garden, but they're all kind of tied together by planting schemes, whether it be olives or Trachycarpus. And that is something that kind of will tie the whole garden together, but also leave you with a feeling of different zones. So from the front garden, the parterre at the front, which is one of the first projects I ever did, you'll be able to walk through the centre of the arid bed, and you'll be flanked by Trachycarpus. And then you'll be able to go over an imaginary path across the drive into the olive grove. And because some of the plants are repeated in those different zones, you'll get the feeling that you're going on a journey, but there are 3 separate zones. And I'm hoping that makes sense, but that's what I'm thinking in my mind. The olive grove is a huge project. I've got a farmer coming later in the week to help me lift the olives in the air with his tractor, so I can tap the plant pots off the bottom of those huge olives and then plant them in the ground. But that's for another video later in the week. For now, I just want to sort of demonstrate the procedure I'm going through here, which is to basically take away all the grass and relocate 2 of these Trachycarpus so that we have bare earth. And then I'll be able to go online or go down to a local builder's merchants and order some bags, probably 2 or 3 tons, I would imagine, of gravel, and have that delivered. The last time I had gravel delivered here, it was for my formal parterre garden at the front. And they brought a crane along and just dropped it in situ. So I'm hoping they'll be able to do that again and just lower the gravel over the fence and down into the plot. And then I'll just be able to use a sharp knife, slit up the side of the bag, and the gravel should spill out. So there we are, some progress on the arid desert garden, or the gravel garden. And the next thing you see here will be me moving the Trachycarpus, the gravel arriving, and then I'll be able to do that exciting thing, which is selecting, choosing and planting some arid desert plants. Hope you've enjoyed that, found it interesting, and I'll see you soon for some more arid gardening. Bye for now.